Hello and welcome again to another webinar from Tangram Media in conjunction with meetingjobs.com. My name is Sven Schäfer from Tangram Media. I own and operate a company that concerns itself with social media marketing and online marketing. And what we're going to talk today about is how to set up a website. And that can be a website for anybody. And we're going to jump right into it because there's a lot to tell for you. Okay, so what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to set up a domain. And the domain is really, really important because it tells something about you and it makes you findable. So there's kind of a two-edged sword here. On one hand, I tell my customers, please, put your business name into the domain so it's easier for you and it's easier to relate to that name. So for instance, we have tangramedia.com, CNN.com, foxnews.com, ESPN.com. All those big guys, of course, have it. Now, on the other hand, it helps your search engine performance when you have your keywords in the domain. So for us, it would be maybe socialmediamarketing.com. Guess what? That's most probably already taken, but it does help somewhat. It might not be a bad idea to have two domains. I mean, you can have 3, 4, 10, 50 domains. It really doesn't matter. And you can point domains to other domains. So I could have socialmediamarketing.com if I had it, and I just pointed towards tangramedia.com. That would also count. And of course, you can also go and just tell that to your customers. One more thing about domain, what you see a lot now is domains that are being set up just for a certain purpose or a certain marketing strategy. So for instance, whatever Esurance will have something like thebluelogo.com or nationwide is on your site.com or we are on your site.com, something in that direction. You see that a lot. If you look at TV ads, you see those domains that have maybe a temporary character. You see that a lot. It's just very easy to follow. Help me with my socialmedia.com. Okay, for instance, for us. So domain name is really important. So that's the first thing you have to think about and you have to get. Secondly, you have to think about hosting. Hosting is one of the most important things ever. First thing is really just the costs. Now, in these day and age, storage space is cheap. So I want you to think about hosting as something that's not super expensive. And it shouldn't cost you 30, 40 bucks a month. A basic hosting plan these days you can get for $5, $6, somewhere up to $10. That's fine. Okay. Sometimes those are specialized hostings. We're going to talk about WordPress in a second here. They are specialized for WordPress. If you have a e-commerce store, you have to get a so-called SSL certificate to make it secure so people can pay securely on your website. There is something else called a dedicated IP address. You might want to get that to get rid of spam, because if you're on the same server then people who spam all the time, it doesn't matter. If you don't spam at all, you're going to put into the same basket. It's just like being in the same building with somebody that is a fraud and you're getting searched as well. So there's all kinds of things to consider what kind of hosting to get, but a basic hosting between $5 and $10. Now, what should a basic hosting have? It should have kind of unlimited space, or let's say 5 to 10 gigabyte, which is usually enough for one website. It should have the possibility of getting subdomains. It should have the possibility of getting multiple domains on one hosting, which means you don't have to buy a new hosting account for every domain. Remember, this is kind of a twofold thing here. The domain can be registered at one point and the hosting can be bought at another point. So the expensive part of it is really the hosting. The domains are relatively cheap. They're like 12 to 15 bucks a year. Not that expensive. The hosting is the more expensive part. That's $5 to $10 that I told you about. So there's a lot of things to consider. Look at the email and so forth. We're going to look at one afterwards anyway. That's pretty good. Then, so in this case, we're going to look at Host Monster, which we like a lot. But there's a bunch more. A lot of you most probably know GoDaddy. Next one is the platform. Now, for today's purposes, I'm going to set up a WordPress site. 75% of all the sites in the world are WordPress. So it's a really good platform. It's free, and you can control it via the backend, which is really, really nice. So WordPress is a really good choice. I know there's a couple of free things out there like Wix, Weebly, GoDaddy has a new platform. So yeah, it's always complicated because they look good in the beginning, but you're going to run into some problems at some point, or they're going to charge you horrendously for some upgrade that you might need at a certain point. This setup here will guarantee you that you won't run into walls. Content, nav, look and feel. We're going to briefly talk about how a website should look like these days and what is really, really important. And then last but not least, the blog. I'm at the point where I'm saying blogs have to be an integral part of your website. It's just really, really important that you take care of your that you have a blog, because it's so good for the search engines. It's a great central platform for your social media. So let's dive in right away. I've already pulled up a website here called GoDaddy. Again, most of you know it. There is a lot of other websites where you can search for your domain. We just want to search for a domain right now. So this is how it usually looks like. It's a big search box, and I figured out that North Carolina travels for my travel agency would be a nice keyword. Okay, so I'm going to search for that. And of course, I forgot. They automatically assume that I want NorthCarolinaTravels.com, and it sadly is taken. Then they give me a whole bunch of other possibilities. So they say NorthCarolinaTravels.info, for instance. See, that's really cheap. That's $2.99 a year for the first year. NorthCarolinaTravels.org is $7.99. Carolina.co, and so on. There's a whole bunch of new things, Voyage, Guru, and those are very expensive. You see NorthCarolinaTravels.voyage, $69.99. Those are more expensive. But it might be worth of it to look into it. For instance, for us, again, we got tangrammedia.com, but I also got tangram.media. Okay, so it's a little bit more expensive, but it's a great domain name, I think. Sven@tangram.media is a good email address. So you have to think of that one as well. But I still say get a .com address as your main address, because it's really better for the search engines and better for people to remember. We had a bizdomain domain once, and nobody understood what I was saying. So also think about it. You have to say it on the telephone, or you have to talk to somebody on a webinar to get this domain out, verbally, and it's going to be hard for them to find. So dang it. So this one's not available. Let's try NorthCarolinaTraveling.com. Oh, wow, that's available. Okay, so that would be a nice domain for me to get. Now I can go ahead and I can buy it directly here from GoDaddy. And again, it doesn't matter if you have your hosting at another point and your domain at the other point. Okay, so what GoDaddy would be doing here for me, it would be buying this domain for me for $10 and registering it for me at the ICANN, which is the registry for the US, and just registered that there. Be sure to keep this password and everything that has to do with your domain very safe, and be sure to put it somewhere where anybody else can read it. Don't leave it to your web designer, please. Be sure that you have access to this domain. I have so many customers that have problems getting access to their domains. It's not even funny anymore. Okay, so NorthCarolinaTraveling.com, I want that, but I always say what I like is I like to have that domain. I like to have it on the same place as I have my hosting. It's just me. Okay, so we're not too much a fan of GoDaddy, even though if you already have it there, don't go, they're fine with pricing, and I think the service has improved. We don't like the backend too much, but that's really more of a programmer thing. So if you go to tangramedia.com/SWP, where we've got some of the presentations, the first two presentations that we did, we got that all here, but there's a button for powerful web hosting, and that takes you directly to HostMonster. And this is going to look something like that. So HostMonster is here, and you see they're starting at $3.95 a month, and we're going to see the plans in a second. So I'm going to sign up now. I'm going to click on there, and then I can select the plan. So the starter plan is really for small. It's only 500 megabytes per account email storage. It's really just a starter thing, but you can start that way and just say, okay, I just got one domain. I don't care. We got 100 gigabyte website space, no problems with bandwidth and so forth. This is good enough for me now, and you can always upgrade. So I like to take this one plus $6.49 per month. I'm just going to select it. And then I need a domain name, and I just already copied this. I just have to take the copy away. NorthCarolinaTraveling.com. Next. And then I get to a mask where it asks me for all my information, of course. Okay, so sign up. Congratulations, the domain you have requested, northcarolinatraveling.com, is available. I put on my first name. There's my package information. And of course, 24 months will be more expensive than 12 months. So you have to find out. Now on HostMonster, there's all the stuff here you actually don't need, apart from maybe the privacy information. If you don't want your name and your email that you're going to put in here publicly out there for everybody, then you might want to get this for 99 cents per month. Apart from that, you don't. That's where all the spam comes from, essentially, because the email that you put up here will be spammed because it's readily available for anybody. I'm just going to show you real quickly. You can go to whois, and whois.com will look up any website. So I can look up tangermedia.com and I can find out who owns it and everything here. So this is how people find out. So that would help if you have a domain privacy protection. And again, every company offers that. And the process here going through HostMonster is pretty similar to anybody else. Credit card number, I've read, and then next. And then it's going to guide you through the password and everything else. And again, please remember the login and the password, write it down. Make sure when you set this up with a webmaster, please take these numbers down and be sure that you have control, your company has control. Just imagine this NorthCarolinaTraveling.com might explode into a huge website one of these days with thousands of hits a day. If you don't have control over that, somebody else will snatch it and they will take all the profit away from that. I guarantee you. Good running domains are very expensive, and the companies like HostMonster and GoDaddy, they take a lot of steps to secure those domains for you. Okay, so let's say we're all signed up and everything's through. So basically, here's the control panel login, and again, the logins on GoDaddy, something is all the same. And then you just log in with your name. Usually, you can put your domain name here, and then you have the password that you're going to get when you sign up. And then you come into the so-called back end of your hosting. So in this case, if you look at this here, for instance, I can go onto domains and I would find all my domains that are registered here. I think we have like 15 domains on this hosting account alone. And you can set up different websites for all of them. It's really not a big deal. But what we're going to do here is going to the cPanel. The cPanel is kind of a standard thing that most hosting companies have, and they have all these options here. It's really a lot of stuff for the average user. You don't really need it, but the big things are here, your mail setup. So you can set up your email accounts here. There's your webmail in there. And again, that's usually the same. So you can set up your email. But what I want to get to is here, there's somewhere in here, it says WordPress. Right there, install WordPress. Okay, and this is called Website Builders, and there's a whole bunch of different ones, Mobile, and Website Manager and all that. But I want to install the WordPress, and every advanced hosting these days has that easy install button for WordPress, and that really makes it a lot easier. So I'm just going to click on that. It's going to take me to a site. In this case, HostMonster is working together with Mojo, and Mojo Marketplace is going to have going to help me install WordPress on my domain. So you just click install. And then here, there's a couple of domains that we have. As I said, all the domains that are on this hosting accounts will be on here. And I want to set this up for, I think I've got something really cool here. There it is, fighterpilotstories.com. Okay. So I'm just going to do this, check domain, and then the rest is pretty self-explanatory what it goes through here. The problem is we've already set it up. So if I'm hitting check domain here, it will most probably say, hey, we've already got files on here. Do you really want to do it? Please, again, you're going to set the login name and the password in there. So, hey, it works. So give it a site name or title. That's really important later on for the site name. Then you can have the admin username. It can be your email, but you can take something else. And then the password. Write these down because you're not, otherwise you're going to lose it again. And then I have read the terms and conditions and then just install it. Now, again, we've already done this. But that's all it is. And then you have you're going to get a little bar up here, and it's going to show you the progress. And once it's done, it's done. And then it's going to send you a little email saying, hey, congratulations, your WordPress site is set up. Everything's fine. Here you go. Okay. And when that is done, all you have to do is, in this case, we have set it up on fighterpilotstories.com/wp-admin. And that's always the login. So the domain name is fighterpilotstories.com, and you would just see the website that way. And then wp-admin will get you into the website. So in this case, I already saved that password. I'm going to put that in here, and then I get into the back end of my website, and it's already all set up. So if we would look up here, you can go visit site. I'm just going to open a new tab here, and that's how the site looks right now. Pretty bland and pretty empty, but it's already a website. It's already done for you. Everything's set up, and you can go from here. Okay, WordPress. Now this can be, we could do this for 3 hours. I just want to get through the basics here a little bit and what you see here on the back end of WordPress. There is, WordPress of course has a website, and just be sure to go to wordpress.org. And on wordpress.org you get all kinds of help here, support, forums, documentation. So you can go into documentation, you can read all about that you need. There is videos and all kinds of things if you want to go deep into that. But what is really cool is without any knowledge, we've just set up a cool website, and you can basically do all kinds of things with it. So for a basic website and setting this up, it's really, really just great. Okay, so first things you're going to get into is your dashboard over here. And it has installed some kind of plugins for me, which I want to get rid of. That's called plugins. And I'm going to go in and install plugins. What the plugins are is you can have all kinds of plugins that help you, increase your website's performance. So there's a search engine optimization one. There is one for a gallery plugin. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have on that SWP and on all the other SWPs, which some of them have logins, so tangramedia.com/SWP, I'm going to put a couple of plugins on there under the FAQ section that will help you tremendously in the WordPress site. So in this case, I just want to get rid of it. This is a good way to explain. This is looks always the same for all the pages, for all the posts. It's always the same little interface. If you click up here, it selects all of it. In this case, I want to deactivate all those plugins because I don't want those standard plugins that are in there. Don't really need them. And then I do this again, and then I'm going to delete all those plugins. So I have a clean slate here, and there's no plugins in that one, which I really don't need. Okay, done. All gone, so I have a really clean one. So on the left side, what you see here, we already were in the dashboard. Okay, posts. WordPress was originally built on a blogging platform. That means there were only posts. What it does is just you add a new post, and it always adds up a new post on top of the last one. So it's basically like a newspaper that runs straight down your browser, and that's it. And then somebody said, why don't we make a real website out of this, website builder out of it, and just not only blogging? So that was about 10, 12 years ago. And they said, yeah, that's a good idea. So then they created pages. So the difference between posts and pages is posts are organized in categories. So for instance, if you want to set up a category, just click here, category, and there's going to be one that says uncategorized, and I can go ahead and quick edit and just change that to blog. Okay, and I'm going to have the slug is basically the URL that it has. So fighterpilotstories.com/blog would be the slug, and then I can update the category, and then it would show up as blog. If I want to call it blog and news, for instance, I can update that category to blog and news, or if I want to call it tips and news instead of blog, I can call it that, and I can go tips-news here if I want to change that slug to that. Okay, and then of course I can go ahead and can add new categories here, like a subcategory. So in this case, maybe Facebook, or we have fighter pilot stories. So what we say, ace stories, for instance. Okay, stories. There we go. And then I'm going to have the parent as tip and news. In this case, it still says uncategorized. It should say tip and news here, and then add category. And then the ace stories come here. I'm just going to reload this page here real quick and have another one. Fighter pilots videos. Okay. And again, I want the parent to be tips and news. There we go. Okay. So now I've created a main category, 2 subcategories here for the categories of the posts. And if I go to add new post here, I can actually write a new post. So I would say whatever, Pete's incredible shoot down, I don't know. Perfect. And then I can just go in here and just write blah, blah, blah. I can just actually go ahead and say, okay, this would work just like a Word document. Now, a couple of tips here. First of all, what you want to do, you want to enable the so-called Toolbar Toggle. It used to be called Kitchen Sink, but now it's called Toolbar Toggle. You can just click it, and then you get a little bit more interesting things here. Okay, you can just type away. The only thing is, and that has to do with programming, is if you hit Enter, you're not going to get a line enter like I did. I always hit enter and it gives me 2 lines. Now, a lot of people ask me, hey, how do I get just a simple line break? It's just by hitting Shift and Enter. Shift and Enter will give you a simple line break, so I can just write here. The difference being, as soon as you hit Enter, the system thinks you want to start a new paragraph. And a new paragraph in coding means that's a new formatting. So that's really, really important, and that's something that gets lost at times. It's complicated for people to comprehend that. I can go ahead and I can put bullet points in here. Just hit the enter button. There we go. I can go ahead and make this bold or italic with it. I can change the size, go to heading 1. Here we go. So all kinds of little things that you can fiddle around with. What is really nice and really important is the linking possibility. You can put links in here, so I can link to something. I can link to an existing page. We don't have any, so there's nothing here, but if I had some, I can just link to that and click on that, and I can link off to another website outside it. Here's a tip. Always when you link outside your website, open the link in a new window tab. Always do that. Because if somebody goes to another site, they don't want it anymore. They close the window, they close the tab, they're actually back on your website and haven't deleted or haven't blocked the website there. Couple of other things up here that I want to mention. Oh yeah, this one is really important. If you paste and copy something from somewhere else, from a Word document, or even worse, from a website, what's going to happen if you paste and copy some text from some other website, it's going to copy the formatting with it, and you don't want that. Okay, so let's say there's all red headlines in there, and then suddenly you have all red headlines as well. So it says here, paste as plain text, the little T on that clipboard. If you click on that, it says paste is now in plain text. Most contents will now be pasted as plain text until you toggle this option off. Okay, and then as soon as I paste something in here now, if I would paste something in there, it would be pasting as plain text and not with the formatting that it had before. Really important. Okay, last but not least, I can put media into this window. Okay, so I can go ahead and can say, okay, I want to add media here. And then I can just upload files. So I could go whatever to my desktop, and I could upload this little image here, and I selected it, and then it just uploads, and here we go. There's my picture, and I can just insert it into that post. Just be sure to look at all these things here. Sometimes you don't want to link anywhere, so I'm not going to have a link on that image itself. I want to maybe left align it. And I have the medium size or the big size. In this case, I can take the big size, and then I change the title to Facebook Humor, just in case, later on I want to find this again, and I have thousands of pictures in here. I can use a search function, and I'm not going to find it under 109.75 whatever, Facebook Humor. And then one thing is, we're going to talk a lot about search engine optimization, how to search engine optimize a picture. It's with this thing called alt text, okay? So in this case, I would say Facebook seminars, for instance, North Carolina. Okay, so this would be a little keyword for me, or Facebook, whatever, teaching, training, North Carolina. I can do that too, maybe that's better. And this is interesting because now when somebody searches for me on Google under Facebook Training North Carolina, they might switch over to the images and they might find this one. And if they click on it, they come to the website. So this is how Google indexes pictures. Really pretty cool. So I've just inserted it in, and there it is. Left indented right where I wanted it. I can take this picture and I can push it around to there. I can click on it and I can make it smaller right in here. Really nice. Okay. So, that's really not that complicated. If you play around with it a little bit, you're gonna love it, and it's really relatively easy. Now, what you can do up top right here, you can publish it, save it as a draft, or preview it. So if I hit preview, a new window is going to open it, and it's going to show me in the original website, the real website, how it's going to look like. Okay, so this is what I've just done. This is the title here, and below it is the image and North Carolina travel and so forth, what I all put in there. Perfect. Okay, so it looks good, and then I can just go ahead and publish it. As soon as I hit publish, it's out there for the world to see. All right. So now it's published. It's on the website. So if I now go to fighterpilotstories.com here, that's the website, and I refresh the page, oh, there is my blog. There's my blog post, right? Right above the Hello World blog post, which is a standard blog post that's in it, and it just went right above it. Perfect. So that's my post here. I can also go ahead and change, publish to draft over here. If I say, oh, this was not that good, so I'm changing it to draft and I'm updating it, and then it disappears again from the website because now it's just as draft. Let's say, I have to finish and I want to keep on going at some time. I can put a password in front of this, or I can make it private. So I just have, private means I just need the link because it's not going to appear anywhere on the website unless I have the link. And I can put a password over this. If I want to make it for members only, I can do that. But usually it's public view. Okay, and then I can put a publish date on it, which is also pretty cool. Let's say you just wrote 5 blog posts, but you don't want to publish them all at the same time. You can publish them, space them out a week or something. So hey, you're done for the next 5 weeks, and here you go. Okay, perfect. That's that one. Format is right now is not. I would just keep the standard in this. That depends on the template that you have installed. And then here's my categories that I've created. I've created tips and news, Ace stories. So this one would be the Ace stories under tips and news. So I've got that. And as soon as I hit update or hit publish, it's going to do exactly that. So that's your enter button, basically, excuse me, for the site. Perfect. So that's for posts. And again, there's a lot of help stuff. There's help stuff up here. Support forums, documentation, and writing, editing posts, and you will need that definitely. I mean, I can, with the time that we have here, only go through it very, very briefly, but you get a general overview how easy it actually is. Okay, so that was posts. Let's look at pages real quick, and you will see it's interesting because if I go add new page, this looks exactly the same. It's exactly the same thing. The only thing here is on the right side, you don't have those categories because pages are their own category. So if I would put in here like famous pilots, okay, and then I just write something here, blah, 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 and I publish this, what happens on the website is it's going to create, in this case, so it all depends, of course, on the, I know what happened here. Okay, so it usually creates a navigation bar. Now the problem here is we have a template that looks a little bit different. That's more blog prone. So why don't we go into that real quick? Under appearance, you will find themes. Okay, and there's a couple of standard themes that come readily installed with WordPress. It's called here 2014, 13, and 15. And right now we have the 15, which is more a blog layout. 2013 would be more a standard website layout. So let's just activate that one. And you will see something interesting. If I go back to the website and I refresh the page, now look at this. We've changed everything out. I mean, the whole thing is just a totally new website. And that's something with themes. There's a lot of themes on the market, a lot of free themes that you can just download or upload into your WordPress. And you can play around with it. It's really, really pretty cool. But see here, Famous Pilots came up as a own web page. All right. So if we click on this, it's going to have Famous Pilots and what I put on before. Okay. That's pretty interesting. And sample page was another page that we set up. So what happens with the pages is those pages come up as its own entity. Famous Pilot, sample page, they are going to be created as their own entity, whilst the posts come in categories. And those categories should be displaying up on here. We're going to get to that in a second, how to display that. I'm sorry, but it should be there. See down here is the categories, Ace stories, and tips and news. It should actually also display up here. However, these are the pages that will get their own little navigation bar. Okay, and by the way, it's the same thing as we had before. Remember when we had the when we went to the plugins, it's the same kind of layout. When you have a lot of pages, you can search the pages, you can filter for dates, you can have bulk actions here, edit, move to trash, and so forth. When you mouse over, it gives you this menu, so you can do full edit mode, and then there's a quick edit mode. Let's say you want to push this to a draft. Push this to a draft. Now it's a draft, and now if I, for instance, if I refresh this page here, see it's gone. because I pushed it to draft. Now if I make this live again in the quick edit, draft, I publish it again in here, update, going back to the website, refreshing the page, boom, Famous Pilots is back again. So this is a way, if you want to take out temporarily, if you want to take out sites on the navigation bar. So posts and pages, that's the big difference. Posts come in categories, pages are their own categories. Major difference. And posts is more the blog pages, the blogging pages. Now media. You saw we already uploaded one and that was directly in the post, but of course we can also mass upload. So I could go ahead and say add new media, and I can just go either drop them right in here from my desktop, or I can just select them. I can say, okay, here's that one again, and I've got a couple of PDFs here, so I'm just going to put a PDF. I'm just going to take that. Hopefully that's not too big. Let me just check this real quick. I don't want a huge, no, that's not too big. Okay. So I'm going to just upload those that image again. So we've got it twice in here now, and we've got a PDF. And also PDFs can be uploaded and then linked to. And then if I hit library, you're going to see nicely all my pictures. And of course, you're going to have more pictures once it goes along. But I can click on those pictures. I can see, we changed the title to Facebook Humor. We changed the alt text here. And I can see the link up here. And this is basically the entire link to that picture. So if I would copy this, oops. I copy this and I open up a new web page and just put this in here. The picture comes up. That's the link to that picture. Okay, you can scroll through those. Just exit out. Here we go. That's media. Okay. You already saw under appearance, you got themes. You can customize the whole theme. So if you click on customize, it's going to give you a couple of options here. Site title and tagline, the colors. I can change the colors around. Okay, there's not much here. I can just change the header text color to something different and see it live. In live, it changes the color up here. So I don't know. Keep that there. Header image. I could change that one to something else. So see, that's a little different. And of course, I can randomize it or add a new image that I want to put in here. So that will be if I put this here, it's going to be funny because it's not going to do much. You can only take that guy here. Kind of funny. All right, crop the image. And then here we go. We've got the Fighter Pilot stories like this up here. Looks a little pixelated because it's just too small. But you see how easy that all is. I mean, it all makes perfect sense. And then I could change it to a static front page down here, and that's pretty interesting because I can take a static page. You see, your latest posts would be on there, or a static page, and that's what's going to change things around. Now, so I want to take Famous Pilots or the home page as my main, and then I can save and publish it. And now my main page, the landing page for the website, is going to be Famous Pilots. And I can exit out and go just right out of here again. We talked about plugins real cool. Let me just show you. If I add a new plugin, let's say I want a gallery plugin, and I know that because I want a nice gallery, I know that Next Gen Gallery is a cool gallery plugin. I'm just going to use that. Here we go. And I can install it right from here, install that plugin, and then it's going to tell me you want to activate it, activate plugin, and what's going to happen is down here, this is, okay, I'm going to have to refresh most probably. Okay, there's gallery now. And now I can start uploading galleries. Every one of those plugins has a little, if you go view details, it's going to show you support here, and it's going to give you possibilities of how to, other notes of how to implement this gallery. There's installation, how to put that in there, and there's a whole documentation file on that. So you have to learn a little bit, but if you want to do it alone, that's a little bit of the drawback. Look how nice the galleries, how nice galleries you can put up there. Really neat. So I've just installed a gallery plugin. What else is up here? Basic settings. Okay, if you go into basic settings, general, things you want to look at is, want to take that tagline maybe and change that, because right now it says Fighter Pilot Story is just another WordPress site. Okay, you want to make this maybe cool stories all about the best pilots ever. Okay, and then down here you can put your email address in there. and change that. I like to change this to my time zone. UTC is a little bit funny, but it also has other things in there. So for us, it's New York here. I'll take New York. Just put Nassau in, but there's New York. Okay, good time zone, perfect. Week starts on Monday. Save changes, and I'll change the changes. If I go back to the website, it's going to say Pilot Pilot Stories, cool stories about the best pilots ever. Here we go. I've got it all there. Perfect. Super. All right. There is who can write, who can read, discussions, media settings. So in the media settings, you can set the medias are always loaded up. When you upload a media file into WordPress, it's always uploaded in 3 versions. It makes 3 versions. So you have the large size, the max width, the max height, the medium size, and the thumbnail size. And you can change that here. So anytime a picture is uploaded, it's uploaded then it's these 3 different files. And you saw that when we entered the media into the page, into the post, it had it had the different possibilities with the size. Okay. Another thing that I want to do here is go permalinks, and that's under the settings. Permalinks is really important that you hit this either post name, and see it gives you that one already. This already gives you basically what it does. It sets the post name, so the post or the page name as the URL, and that's really important for your search engine optimization. And then save the changes. So you just have to do that once and never again, but it's a really important change. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about look and feel of the website. So this is right now how this website with that template looks like. Okay, let me just go here and let me just give you an example of one of the websites we have built, and then you can see how a website is supposed to look like in the present day and age. So what you will see a lot, and you see that a lot with other bigger websites, is these square or rectangular parts in the websites, and that has to do with so-called responsive design. What you want to have these days in your design is, let me just exit full screen here, is you want to incorporate mobile-friendly design, and responsive design does that. So what happens here, and you can see that the size of the content automatically adjusts to the size of the screen. So let's say this would be a phone. You see how nicely this all comes into play? Oh, hopefully it's not going to quit on me now, because I have the ball of death in here. So something happened. Again. So, but you see that this adjusts nicely. So people that have mobile devices, and be aware that 35% of all the people right now go online with mobile devices. So this is really, really important. So be sure to have this responsive design in the look and feel. The other thing is pictures, visual, do it. I just found today the master's website. Interesting. Okay, let me show you this one real quick. This is how future websites are going to look like. Check this out. It's only pictures and that's it. No text, nothing. Because people are getting so prone on pictures, when they want to go ahead and say, okay, I want to read the article, they just click here and there's your article. And see also the article is very short and it's all pictures. Amazing. Videos, pictures, visual. Go big buttons too, so people can see and feel what you really mean. So big buttons here, they're all clickable. You can go to design accents from here, big galleries. Everything has to be big and right into your face because all people have ADD. So that's to look and feel. And last but not least, the blog. Now in this case here, you see a ready-made website with a blog integrated into it. Really nice, because when you want to link into your website from the social media pages, you can do that by linking over to the blog. So let's say I have green building here for those builders. I have a nice article here. Why would you build a green home? Great article. I'm just going to take this article and copy that one and put it into my social media. Why? Because now people are going to come into my website and they're already here. So they're going to read this article and say, oh, what's happening here about us? Who is that guy? Or who are those people? Okay, I want to contact them. See how easy that was for me to get around this website? It's all right there. Okay, oh, wow, this is where they are. Cool, perfect, nice. everything's right there. And I can go back to the blog and I can see what kind of blog posts they have about what kind of topics. Here are some nice house plans. So that's the important part of the blog. It helps you search engine optimization, and it helps you with anything that comes from the social media side of things. All right, I think this wraps it up. This was the coaching about website creation, and I'm sure that you have some questions. You can send them to the tangramedia.com/SWP, tangramedia.com/SWP. There's a sign up. There's a little box in there. You can leave questions there, and we'll be sure to answer them. All right, and that was the Successful Web Presence #1, the seminar about how to create a website from scratch, which you can now do. Perfect, saves you a lot of money. Well, thank you so much for listening, and enjoy your day.